Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. We have been discussing chapter 7 and we are in session number 72 today. So, as usual, let's begin our session with the Pranam Mantras. So, we have Dev, we have Vinodji, we also have Hina Mataji. So, nice to have all of you again back. So, let's very nicely sing and chant this pranam mantras. It will be displayed on the screen. So all of you kindly join your palms and repeat after me the pranam mantras. Let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So let us chant the pranam mantras. Namo Vishnupadaya कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत
Gadadara
शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्दा
Namo
नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमाप्रदायते
Krishna
कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः नमो ब्रह्मण्यदेवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. So, in the previous verses, we have discussed very nice things. We have covered verse number 10 and verse number 11. So, what did Krishna speak about in, of course, in ninth, we see that how punyo gandha prithviyam cha tejas chasmi vibhavaso jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. So that punya gandha, I am the fragrance in the earth, I am the tejas in the fire, vibhavaso. I am also the one who maintains all the living entities and also the tapas in all the tapasvis. And in the 10th verse, which we discussed in the last session, Krishna explained that how Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam Viddipatas Sanatanam. I am the Venjaka Shakti, I am the Bija, I am the seed of everything. Then Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi Tejas Tejas Vinam Aham. I am the intelligence in all the intelligent people. Krishna also says, Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So, the only qualified person to receive the noble laurels is actually Krishna because no one can beat his buddhi. So much of intelligence is there, and he actually gives intelligence to everyone. Buddhir buddhimatam asmi, right? We can replace so many different organs in our body. We can today, with medical technologies, we can replace the heart, we can replace eyes, we can replace kidneys, we can do a lot of things, but we cannot replace intelligence. Intelligence cannot be replaced. So that Krishna is saying, I am that Buddhi, Buddhir Buddhi Matamasmi, Tejas Tejas Vinam Aham. I am the Tejas. Everything that is so brilliant in this world, that brilliance comes from me. So this is what he explained in the 10th verse. And the 11th verse also, which we discussed very nicely, Krishna says that Balam Balavatam Chaham Kamaraga Vivarjitam. So I am the strength of all the strong people. There are so many strong people. We see those wrestlers and everybody. Of course, all these people are there. Are they really representing Krishna? Oh, so many people in the WWF, in the wrestling games, and all those things. Are they really representing Krishna? No, all these great wrestlers of the world today, they are not representing the strength. Their strength is not representing Krishna. Why? Because Krishna says that I'm that strength which is Kama Raga Vivarjitam, which is free from Kama and Raga, lust and attachment. That kind of strength is what represents me. So that is why all these modern people, the wrestlers, they are actually in one sense followers of Kichaka, which we discussed last time in Mahabharata. We have this personality, Kichaka, who was very, very powerful wrestler. He was the Mr. Universe that time. Very, very powerful. Nobody could beat him in wrestling matches. He was extremely powerful. But then his strength is Kamaraga Vivarjitam. He was filled with so much of lust and attachment. And that is why Krishna is saying, I am not that kind of strength. I am the strength which is represented by Bhima. Bhima, a great devotee who had so much of strength, but at the same time had the self control. So, that kind of balam, that kind of strength is what represents Krishna, not this ordinary strength what people display. Then Krishna also mentioned this very important thing. Dharma virodha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshaba. He said that any union between a male and female, which is as per dharma, that is me. So, progeny, the union between man and woman, which is meant for progeny, that is actually representing me. So, Krishna is not saying that I am not, he's not rejecting anything in this material world. He knows that these are the basic necessities of human life or any living entities. So, what is not against dharma, which is not going as per the dharma, then I am not that. But anything in line with dharma, then I am that kamaha. Even that is what he is mentioning that. Very, very important. And that's why when we understand this principle of garbhadana samskara, when we understand the principle of proper moral codes of what a man should do, what a woman should do, when we understand these basic things, when we understand all these principles properly, then there is no need of artificial contraception, which is mostly used these days. And people, in spite of that, there is so much of unwanted population, Varna Sankara, that is coming up. So, one is, in spite of this artificial contraception, there is unwanted population that comes in and Varna Sankara is happening. And because there is no Garbhadana, there is no good progeny that is coming into this world, right? So we are missing out on something very, very, very big. So that is why if we follow this properly, dharma and Garbhadana samskara, and then when a man and woman they unite to create wonderful progeny, then that is truly, in one sense, religious contraception. Prabhupada says this. Prabhupada uses this word, religious contraception. So that is why we have to understand these basic principles as per dharma, what Krishna is saying. Krishna is giving the overview here. In depth, when we understand these all different samskaras and scientific things that Krishna is revealing, then it is so wonderful. So now, after explaining all these things, Krishna is going to get into the next verse, that is verse number 12, and let's see what that is. So, Dev, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the 12th verse.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Echaiva satvika bhava.
Prabhuji, are you sharing the screen?
Yeah, one second, maybe it's not shared there. Okay,
Yeah.
just hold on.
Now it's visible.
Yeah. Echaiva satvika bhava.
ये चैव सात्विका भावा
राजसास्तामसाश्च ये
राजसास्तामसाश्च ये
मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि
मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि
न त्वम् अहं तेषु ये ते मयि.
न त्व अहं तेषु ते मयि.
Let's do that once again. ये चैव सात्विका भावा
ये चैव सात्विका भावा
राजसास्तामसाश्च ये
राजसास्तामसाश्च ये
मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि
मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि
न त्वम् अहं तेषु ते मयि.
न त्व अहं तेषु ते मयि.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Know that all states of being, be they goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they on. Prabhuji, I can't see the word
On the
over here.
contrary, are within me. Okay.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Okay, no problem. Hare Krishna. So very nice. So Krishna is saying here that all these different three varieties of gunas that are there, these three varieties of guna that is existing, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. Krishna is saying all these material things are actually activities in the world are carried out by the three gunas. Okay, are under these three gunas, these material things are conducted. Sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. We have discussed this previously also, how that everything, all the matter in this world are actually controlled by these three gunas. This material body, all the different types of matter that you see, they all fall into only these three categories. Sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. So Krishna is saying that goodness, passion, and ignorance are manifested by my energy. They're all my energy. And Krishna is saying that although everything in this material world is controlled by these three gunas, I am independent. I am out of these three gunas. Just like a king, he makes a law, but he is not subjugated by the law. So that is how Krishna is the king of the whole universe and he has made all these different systems, and still he is independent. He is not actually bound by any of these things. So let us understand a little bit more. With all that we have discussed in the previous, in the discussion, although in the session, there are so many finer aspects that Krishna is revealing. Now, here in this verse, Krishna is actually summing up all that. He's saying that, okay, previously I have explained to you about water, earth, fire, everything, the Ashtada, all the different types of Prakriti, all these different things Krishna is saying are all coming under these three gunas, and everything is acting as per my direction. Now, although everything is created by Krishna, we do not see him. A fine example is, you see, I'm using this laptop, you're also using a certain gadget, a laptop or whatever. Now, what you're seeing is the screen. You are seeing me on the screen. But there are so many different components which are assembled together so that you are able to see me in the screen, and we are each together, we are able to see each other because of all these different components. Now, all these different components in the laptop or the TV, they're all manufactured by different companies. Although a laptop belongs to a certain company, we call it as, okay, it is Apple, or it is HP or Dell, or whatever company it is, but internal components are actually manufactured by so many different companies. All put together, they will become one product of a certain company, isn't it? This is how these components are made. Now, Krishna is saying, just imagine if all so much of intelligence and so many different companies come together to form one product. Here, Krishna is saying that the whole universe has so many different components, like Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. All these different components are created by me. And not just created by me, Krishna is also saying he is assembling them in all such a beautiful way that it is giving so many beautiful varieties. That's why we are seeing all this on the screen. What is the screen? The whole nature, what we see is a screen. And in this screen, we see so many different wonderful aspects of the Lord's creation. See, just imagine how beautiful it is. So, Krishna is such a mastermind. For a small component, so many people are required. And for such big thing, Krishna is all alone. He's enough. His intelligence is so supreme. So wonderful it is, isn't it? Now, that's why if you want to see Krishna in all these things, although he has created everything and he is in everything, we are not able to see him. We are not able to see and perceive Krishna, although he is everywhere. Why? Because of our inability. That's why Chandogya Upanishad also says that, okay, if you want to understand and feel the presence of Krishna everywhere, then Chandogya Upanishad says very beautifully, it says, Nama Brahmeti Upasita, Nama Brahmeti Upasita. What does that mean? Nama Brahma Upasita means that name itself is Brahman. Any name that you take in our day-to-day activities, when we use certain names, those names are also in one sense representing Krishna. Why? Because the origin of all the matter is also Krishna. So you take Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. Apsu means water. Water is what? Another name. Is it not? Water is nothing but a name to a certain substance which is liquid in nature. So that name, water, Apsu, is also representing Krishna. The fire, the name fire itself is representing Krishna. So every activity that we do and everything that we use in our day-to-day life, and we have given a certain name, that name itself, Chandogya Upanishad says, just by remembering that name and behind that name, that yes, feeling the presence of the Lord, remembering the Lord by using that name is actually in one sense devotion. Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. That's why our Vedic culture was designed so beautifully that people in the past, When everything that they're doing, no matter they're cooking, they're going out, they're working in the field, they're doing business transactions, when they take certain names, they used to take names, they used to remember the Lord. By taking the names, it used to remind them of the Lord. That is the kind of culture that people in the past, the Vedic times, they used to have. That is how they used to remember God. Suppose the great devotees, also great saints and great devotees, great yogis, when they are feeling thirsty, Rasoham apsukaunteya, they don't have water. But Rasoham apsukaunteya, they just know, oh my Lord, you are actually the taste in the water. You are that rasaha in the water. And you are the one who actually quench the thirst of ours. When they just remember the Lord like this, oh my Lord, that you are the taste of the water. Although they are thirsty, they don't have water, their thirst is quenched. Just by remembering like this, just by remembering the Lord, oh my Lord, you are the one who will quench the thirst. That itself is enough. That automatically they used to quench their thirst. Now there are two different ways of quenching our thirst. How do we quench our thirst now? We are thirsty. One is you go take the water, the substance water, and drink the water. That is one way. But now, what if you don't have water? Can you quench your thirst? Ah, no. You better become a great devotee, a wonderful devotee. Because what happens when you become a nice devotee, you will just say, Raso, hum apsukaunte. Yeah, oh my Lord, you are tasting the water. Then Lord, mercifully, He will actually quench our thirst. Great devotees do that. That's why they are not fearful of any situation. They are not really worried about what is happening in the external world, corona or tsunami or anything. They are not really worried because in everything, in every action, they see the Lord. That is how it is. Here also, so beautiful. Rasoham apsukaunteya. That's one level of understanding. So, in the name itself, Nama Brahmeti Upasita, this itself is so nice. Now, similarly, in all the different elements also, you can see Krishna. You see now there is fire. Now, fire, that heat is coming. When you see that, feel that heat, oh my Lord, you are the heat in this fire. You're cooking nicely. That heat is actually being given by Krishna. So that heat is representing Krishna. So there are many times, even the yogis, when they go to the Himalayas and there is very chilling cold weather, in that cold weather, this yogis, they can increase the temperature of the finger to 15 degrees Celsius. When the whole temperature, even the body temperature falls down, but because of the yogic siddhi, they raise their temperature to 15 degrees, 20 degrees, like that. They're able to, just by the yogic siddhi, they're able to increase the temperature. But the true yogi also understands that this ability is given to me by actually the Lord. Just see, that ability is there. So similarly, when you see everything, it is water, air, fire, earth, that gandha, punya gandha. Oh, so beautiful fragrance, my Lord. This fragrance is actually because of you. In fact, sometimes when you are so spiritually elevated, there are situations where devotees also mention there is nothing around, no flowers or no aromatic things around them. They're simple in a simple room they are living, but because they are surcharged with spiritual emotions, they get the fragrance of sandalwood. Many times when you're spiritually surcharged, your body becomes, your feet becomes warm. All these experiences happen for the devotees. Many times it happens. Why? Because, or for the yogi, it happens because they experience the presence of the Lord. You get the fragrance automatically. You get that fragrance automatically. Very nice fragrance comes out. Where you don't understand where it is coming from, but it comes. It comes because that punya gandaha, fragrance, is actually in the Lord. Lord, when you remember the Lord, automatically all these beautiful things happen. And this is not imaginary thing. All these things actually happen. You can experience them when you chant Hare Krishna very nicely with full devotion. You can experience all these things. So that is what Krishna is saying. In every element we can experience. So now understanding and feeling the presence of the Lord everywhere, this is jnana. This is what is knowledge. In today's terms, jnana, knowledge means what? Reading a book. You take a book and you get some knowledge. That is what we call as jnana. But actually, in one sense, reading a book is not jnana, it is not knowledge. It is not knowledge. There is so much in the sky, so much. The whole sky is filled with so much. How can we assimilate all the knowledge that is there in the sky in a small, tiny book? Can we do that? Everything that is there in the space, can we put everything that in a small, tiny book? Not possible. So, similarly, the Lord, the knowledge of the Lord is so unlimited. Just to understand Him through a small book is not going to help. That is not jnana. What we get through jnana is not what we get through books is not jnana in one sense. Even our sages and great saints, they considered books to be very small aspect of a small medium of acquiring knowledge. It's not all in all, a small medium of acquiring knowledge. Real knowledge is what? Real knowledge means you should be able to see the Lord everywhere. Jnana, the word jnana itself means to see the Lord everywhere. There's a very beautiful thing saying also in the in our scriptures. It says that Vishnu sarvatra utkarsha jnana jnana vitiryate. I repeat that again. Vishnu sarvatra utkarsha jnana jnanam vitiryate. What is jnana? Jnana means that Vishnu sarvatra utkarsha. You see the Lord everywhere. You see Vishnu everywhere. That is jnana. If we don't see Lord in the things that we are studying, then it is not knowledge. That bookish knowledge is not jnana. Many people now may think, oh, sir, what is this? Prabhuji, I am a degree holder, I am a PhD holder. You see, there are a lot of people with the nameplates, they have all the alphabets of English written on the nameplate, A to Z, everything. They are so much educated, we say. But Krishna is saying that that is not jnana, that is not knowledge. What we read in our schools and colleges is not jnana. Jnana means you should be able to see Krishna. That is jnana. Only when through this knowledge you are able to see Krishna, that becomes jnana. Otherwise, it is not jnana. Just 2 days ago, also, I shared one a morning quote of a scientist, which very beautifully says it is a very nice quote by Derek Barton. He is actually a Nobel laureate in chemistry. And what he said, he says that the observations and experiments of science are so wonderful that the truth that they establish can surely be accepted as another manifestation of God. God shows himself by allowing man to establish truth. See, he's saying very clearly God shows himself by allowing man to establish truth. So, all these different experimentations that the scientists are doing, it's all happening because of the Lord. So, this is jnana. Now, this scientist, Derek Barton, in one sense, he has understood the real purport of jnana. Now, when you see that element of God in everything, even in science, that is jnana. Now, this Vijnana, what is Vijnana? Now, many people have misused this word also, Vijnana. Vijnana means these days there are so many science colleges and science institutes. They are all called as Vijnana, the institutes of Vijnana. But this is not Vijnana. So what is Vijnana then? Krishna again, in the scriptures it is said, Tad Vishesha Parijnanam Vijnanam Vididiyate. Vishesha. What is that? When you see Vishesha Parijnanam, Jnanam means to see the Lord, but when you specifically, something special you see, the Lord's presence when you feel very specially in certain thing, that is Vijnana. You have the realization of that particular aspect of Lord. So, a person who has actually jnana and vijnana, jnana means he can see the Lord everywhere. Vijnana means He will see specifically some special presence he will see of the Lord in specific things. That is Vijnana. Tad Vishesha Parigyanam. So that is what is jnana and vijnana. That's what Krishna. What did he say in the Krishna to Arjuna in this beginning of the chapter? He says, "Oh Arjuna, now I'm going to reveal to you jnana vijnana sahitam. I'm going to reveal to you both jnana and vijnana. What is jnana and vijnana? Jnana and vijnana means not this material knowledge. Jnana and vijnana means to see everything, to see the Lord in everything, and to understand and realize Him. That is jnana and vijnana. Just see. And we are missing out on this. We are calling ourselves as big, big novel laureates or degree holders, but we don't know what is jnana, what is knowledge. So without Krishna, there is the knowledge that we have is not knowledge. It is simply mundane knowledge, isn't it? You see? So this is how we should understand. And now when Krishna is saying here in this verse that all the material activities are conducted by me under my supervision, that means every minute thing is actually taken control by the Lord. The Lord has full control over every minute thing in this world. That is how Shukshma the Lord is. Many times when we go and purchase some grocery, we say 1 kg, 2 kg of dal, or whatever it is. You see what happens there? The shopkeeper, he is filling up the bag, and then while he is doing so, few grains, they fall down. Now, is that in your control in any way? Please understand. When you're taking something in a grocery shops, few grains of sugar or few grains of dal, they infinitely fall down, no matter how careful he is, but he falls down and we say, oh, how did it fall down? Now, why did it fall down? Those few grains which were actually supposed to come into your bag, they did not come. They fell down and it was probably taken away by some ants or some other insects. It was meant for them. That's why they say, dane dane pe likha hai, khane wale ka naam. Every grain, it reaches to a specific person. Who is maintaining this now? Who is actually controlling this activity? It's not in our control for sure. The Lord ensures that everybody gets their due things. Isn't it? So wonderful it is. Many times, not just this, there are so many things that we select in our day to day life. When you go to take certain clothes, when you want to purchase some clothes, you see so many varieties of the clothes. The shopkeeper is showing so many different varieties of clothes to you. But you get hooked on to a specific cloth, a particular type of cloth. It is very beautiful. And he shows you varieties in that same design with different colors. But you will get stuck to only one color. The moment you see that, this is the one, you feel that this is the one. How do you select? On what basis that selection happens? Have you ever thought about these things? So many things, but you avoid all the different things, you select only one thing. Although others are also very nice, beautiful, but you like only one thing. That selection also, that is inspired by the Lord. To avoid all the different things and select one thing that is inspired by the Lord. All these things are not automatic. The Paramatma within the law, within your heart, and the presence of the Lord in that matter. The same Paramat, this is Bimba Pratibimba. When the Pratibimba is seen by the Lord, when you are able to experience that Pratibimba, automatically you will feel, this is the one I should take. This is the one object, okay, I should take it now. You see? So you can see and feel the presence of the Lord in everything that way. There's certain selections that you do, it means the Lord is inspiring you to do that. Now you just imagine you took a new cloth and when you bring some new clothes from the store and you show it to the people, see, I have bought a new cloth. Oh, this is a very nice new cloth that I have bought. The cloth is new because you bought it, or when you bought it, or the cloth is new when you actually it was manufactured by the particular company. The cloth was new when it was manufactured in the factory, or the cloth is new when you actually purchased it? Or is the cloth new when you actually bought the cloth, you kept it for 2 years, and then you wore it after 2 years, and then you still say that, oh, see, I'm wearing a new cloth. So, when is the cloth new actually? The cloth is new when it was manufactured, or when you purchased, or the cloth is new when you are actually wearing it. Just see, have you ever thought about it? But we say, oh, this is a new cloth. The newness that you feel in the cloth is actually from the Lord. That newness that you see in the cloth is actually because of the Lord. Getting the point? So everything that way, if you start analyzing in your day-to-day activities, you see, why Krishna is saying that I'm the Soham Apsukaunteya, I'm the Tapas in the Tejasvis, I'm present everywhere. All these different things Krishna is saying because he's actually training us. At least now, come on, now you identify, now you understand all these things and get trained to see me everywhere. So next time when you drink water and you're tasting the water, yes, this is Krishna. Because if you drink Coca-Cola or if you drink any other milk also, for that matter, to quench your thirst, you will not be able to quench your thirst by drinking milk. What water can do, the milk cannot do. Every specific thing, a specific matter, it has its own ability, and that ability comes from Krishna. So when you drink water, you should be able to remember Krishna. That is jnana. That is vijnana. This is how we should train ourselves. When you feel heat in the fire, this is vijnana. This is what is coming from the Lord. You should immediately remember the Lord. That is the way of getting trained. And it takes time. So now you tell me, can you escape from God? None of us can escape from God because God is everywhere. In everything that we do, everywhere God is present. It's just that we have to train ourselves to start seeing God now. That is how we should train ourselves. Yet sampark, yet samparkat priya asan. The liking and disliking for certain things. Very nicely it is said. Yet samparkat priya asan. You like certain things, you dislike certain things. All this liking and disliking is enabled by the Lord. See? So, very beautifully, if we just analyze these things deeply, when you start understanding all these verses of the Bhagavad Gita, there is so much of depth now. We can just dive so much deeper into deep. Rasoham apsukaunteya. There's another way of understanding this also. Rasoham apsukaunteya. We should scan all these different materials and see beyond. We should scan this material. When you say so hum apsu kaunteya, you see the apsu water, then you scan behind and scan and see what? This water is actually having a controlling devata, Varuna. Apsu, the water is controlled by a devata. There is a controlling person. And then rasaha, the taste also is controlled by another devata. So the devatas controlling rasaha and apsu, water, are controlled by the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. This is dhyana. When you see that, oh yes, every different material is actually controlled by a devata, and these devatas are in turn the servitors of the Supreme Lord, this is what is jnana. This is knowledge. This is true knowledge. Everything else is not knowledge. When we see everything in its right perspective, that is true knowledge. You're getting the point? See how it is, how much depth is there. Just one Krishna has made one statement, Rasoham Apsukaunteya, and we can actually understand it in so many different layers. So, this is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes it really mesmerizes me also. I mean, so much is going on here. That's why even if I want to go faster, it's a little difficult because even I'm trying to understand so many things here. Every time when we read, there is so much depth. And when we hear from the great acharyas and the devotees, there are so many newer and newer things that come up. And I feel like I should share all these things with you. So, because just can't miss out on these things. Although we have to keep moving forward, but there is so much to explain and there is so much to understand that there is no end to this actually. So, anyway, let's go to the next verse. We have to keep moving forward also. So, Vinodji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the 13th verse. Very interesting. So,
Hello.
can you see the screen?
Hello, Prabhuji, you can hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Yes.
त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावे
Trivir guna me far bevir,
एभिः सर्वमिदं जगत्
ebi sarvanam idam jagat,
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
mohitam na bhijanati,
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्.
mameva param avyayam.
Once again, त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावे
Trivir guna me far bevir,
एभिः सर्वमिदं जगत्
ebi sarvamam idam jagat,
मोहितं नाभिजानाति
mohitam na bhijanati,
मामेभ्य परमव्ययम्.
mameva param avyayam.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Yeah. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So here Krishna is saying, deluded by the three modes. These three modes, I have created them, but because people are deluded by all these different things, these three modes, the whole world does not know me. Just see, I'm the inexhaustible, and they cannot understand me. Why? Because mohitam na vijanati. There is moha, and because of the moha, they are unable to actually understand what is the true Lord. The Lord is there everywhere, but because they are covered by this moha, they cannot see the Lord. That's why, although He is the creator, but these gunas which are influencing us and they are taking us through different aspects of life, different varieties of experiences. All these things are so engrossing that we forget the Creator. It is like, sometimes in the olden days, you must have seen in the movies, old movies also, that, a person comes with a box. There is a box, and in that box, there is a small hole. And when you actually peep into that hole, then he will show a lot of reels, different types of screens, and people become so engrossed in seeing those different screens. Have you seen those things? I mean, maybe Vinodji and Hina Mataji in their childhood, you must have seen people like this. He used to come on a cycle and there used to be a box, and in the box you can see inside. And then you become so engrossed in seeing all those different slides that he's showing you inside. This is all going on. So they become so engrossed, they forget the creator. We appreciate everything that is going on inside that box. We see everything and appreciate those different slides which are shown by the creator, but we forget the creator. That's exactly what is happening to us. Now, all these different things are created by the Lord, this box, this universe, and in this, there are so many different slides that are going on. And we become so engrossed in this different slides. I am a man, I am born into this family, I am this, I am that. And all these different slides we are watching, but we forget the creator. See, it is like this now. We don't see beyond that screen. Screen is also created by the Lord. But who can actually take off the screen guard? Only the Lord again. If you have to see the Lord, that parda, that parda has to be removed. Even in the movie theater, that parda is there. On the parda, on the screen, everything is flashed. The lights are coming, the different kinds of uh, pictures are coming, images are coming. All these things we see, but there is an instrument which is running all those different things. We don't see this instrument, only we see the pictures and colors and lights, different types of colors of lights. That's all. And we become engrossed, isn't it? So that's exactly what is happening to us. We are simply watching different movies. This time in this life, I'm watching a movie of a Vinod Ji, Vinod Chandan, Hina Chandan, Dev Chandan, Uma Kumar, Achyutan Ji. I am also watching another movie of okay, Rasagna Ji. You see, all of us simply watching different types of movies. But in these movies, we forget to see Krishna beyond the screens, right? So this is the point that we should get ultimately. This is the most important thing. Krishna is saying that these three modes are there and they're covering, and people, because of moha, attachment, they are unable to see me beyond these three gunas. Okay, so let's go and chant the next one. So, Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the 14th verse also. So, very interesting verse, the 14th verse.
Yes, Prabhuji.
दैविः एषा गुणमयी
दैवी हि एषा गुणमयी
मम माया दुरत्यया
मम माया दुरत्यया
मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते
मामे ये प्रपद्यन्ते
मायामेतां तरन्ति ते.
मायामेतां तरन्ति ते
Again, दैविः एषा गुणमयी
दैवी हि एषा गुणमयी
मम माया दुरत्यया
मम माया दुरत्यया
मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते
मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते
मायामेतां तरन्ति ते.
मायामेतां तरन्ति ते.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here there are so many different aspects to understand. So first Krishna is saying here that actually Krishna has innumerable energies, and all these energies of Krishna are insurmountable. It's extremely powerful. All energies of Krishna are very, very powerful, whether it is material or spiritual. So every energy of Krishna is very, very powerful because Krishna himself is very powerful. Now, living entity also, in one sense, it is Krishna's energy. All of us, we are representing Krishna's energy. The soul is a part and parcel of Krishna, and being part and parcel of Krishna, we are very, very powerful, right? That's why so many things we are able to construct, and we're developing cities and big, big things that we do in this world. It's all because why? We are also having a certain ability, because that energy that we're getting is because we are part and parcel of the divine energetic. So we are able to get and create so many things, right? But there is one thing that we should know here. Krishna is saying here that this material energy, he is calling here this material energy as Daivi Esha Gunamayi. He is calling this as a divine energy. Why Krishna is actually calling this material nature as divine energy of mine? Why is he saying that this material nature is divine? What is so divine about this material energy? After all, these three gunas are binding us and this constantly changing. Material matter is constantly binding us, right? And they create different experiences. But why it is divine? Why Krishna is saying this is a divine energy of mine? This material energy is called divine. Krishna is saying it as Daivi Esha Gunamani. It is because it is under the control of Krishna. Because this energy is controlled by Krishna completely, this material energy, that is why it is called Daivi. Because Krishna is divine, this energy automatically becomes divine. That is why it is referred to here as divine. Because there is a divine personality who is actually controlling it. That is Krishna. That is why we should also understand that this material energy, which is so powerful, extremely powerful, if we have to get out of this material energy, there is no other way other than surrendering to Krishna. Krishna is saying that only if you surrender unto me, then it is possible that you can actually get out of this. See, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Only if you surrender unto me. Now there is Brahma and Shiva who are very, very powerful. Brahma and Shiva are also very great personalities and they actually control. They control what? They control Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Rajoguna by Brahma, Tamoguna by Lord Shiva. Now they are also controlling these three gunas, one of the gunas, and Lord Vishnu is actually controlling the Sattva guna. But Lord Shiva, he clarifies and he says this very nice thing. He says that although we are controllers of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnur Evana Samshayaha. So this is said by Lord. What is that? Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnu Eva na Samshayaha. There is no doubt that if at all we have to get mukti from these three modes, it is only by Vishnu. Only Vishnu can actually give us mukti. Although Lord Shiva and Brahma are controlling it, it is only Vishnu who can make us free from these three gunas. Just see. Very, very powerful. And this is an extremely important verse. All of you should memorize this verse. Daivi Esha Gunamahi Mama Maya Duratchaya. So this is a very interesting verse. Prabhupada used to often quote this verse. So this is a verse which has to be memorized. This 7.14 we have to memorize. This is a very, very nice verse. And then it is also said that in the Vedas, Prabhupada mentions this in the purport. Prabhupada is saying that Mayam tu Prakratim Vidyan Mainam tu Maheshwaram. So, although this energy, Maya, is temporary and it is false, but ultimately, what is that? The background is Maya. Around this illusion called Maya, there is a magician. That magician is Lord Vishnu. So this we call this whole world as Maya, right? Maya Jal. But this Maya Jal is created by a great magician, and that is Krishna. So when we surrender to that magician, we will come out of this magic, this illusory spell that he has created. We will come out of this illusory spell, and we will be able to go and get out of this. So by the help of the spiritual master and by the help of the Lord, we can get out of this illusion. So wonderful it is. And another meaning, Prabhupada explains in the purport, another meaning of guna. Guna means rope. In Sanskrit, guna also means rope. So when a person is bound with the ropes fully, it is very difficult for himself to free from that binding. It's difficult. If you're completely bound, and that too there are three bindings here. Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. We all are tied with these three ropes. These three ropes are binding us so tightly, we cannot free ourselves on our own. We need the help of someone who is not bound. And who is not bound? The the Nitya Muktas. Who is the Nitya Mukta and the Nitya Siddhas? That is the spiritual master. And who is not born? Of course, the Supreme Lord. Krishna has already explained that in the 12th verse that I am independent, although I am the creator of these three gunas, I am independent of them. And then there are spiritual masters who are also free from the three gunas. So these people, that is the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, they can actually free us from these three gunas, these ropes which are binding us. So that is why it is so important to accept a spiritual master. When we have a spiritual master, he guides us correctly, thoroughly, with compassion, and he takes us out of this illusion. Right? So, this is a very, very beautiful verse, and all of you please try to memorize this. It's a very, very nice verse. And then we will understand in the next verse that what Krishna is saying. Who are the people who don't surrender? That Krishna will explain in the next verse. That we will discuss more. So let us see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, please ask. So Vinodji is saying, Prabhuji, how do we know if we have made a right or wrong decision? Okay. Very nice. One second. There is also, okay. Yeah. So Vinodji is asking, how do we know if we have made a right or wrong decision? Just like, the certain things or certain activities that we do internally, deep within, you have that conviction. When you have done something as per dharma, which is in line with dharma, you will automatically get that conviction that yes, it is the right decision. That is what it is. That's why it is said, no, dharmo rakshita rakshita. Dharma, when you protect dharma, the dharma will protect you. That is the power of dharma. So when you're saying that whether it is right decision or wrong decision, when you are following the dharmic principles, when you're doing your sadhana properly and following the principles of dharma properly, automatically from within you will get that conviction. When you get that conviction, that itself is a statement of your right decision. But when we are wavering, when we are shaking, when we have doubts, then that is a problem. Then it is not convinced. Our decision is not right. That is exactly what happened with Arjuna also. He wanted to take a decision which was very wavering, shaking. He said, oh, what should I do now? Fight or not fight? He was confused, right? So that confusion is because somewhere he had no idea about what is true dharma. But when he got to know about the dharma, he knows that decision to fight is the right decision because the conviction comes by knowledge. So when you have that knowledge, when you have that ability to follow sadhana and you are moving in the right direction as per dharma, when your day-to-day activities are in line with dharma, any decision that you take, you will have that conviction because you know that yes, I have taken a right decision. The conviction will come. Now, out of that, the outcome may be supporting or not supporting because there are so many karmic factors also. That outcome may not be in line right now. The outcome may be not as per as you expected temporarily. But in the overall big section, big picture of your life, the decisions that you have taken will bring you some good result only if it is as per dharma. So many people may take certain decisions which is actually wrong from the spiritual perspective, but they will get a good result out of it. They may make a lot of money, they may do a lot of things and get a lot of good material assets and everything, which is actually wrong. But in a big picture, they will lose. In big picture, they will lose. And it will all be taken away. All these assets or anything that we get because of our karma that has been given to us, but they'll all be taken away. And in the big picture, we are a failure because when we take wrong decisions, which is not as per dharma, it will disturb us. Somewhere it will mentally agitate us. So if you know that you are having conviction and you have a lot of clarity when you take a decision, that will come because you are following dharma properly. And chanting also, when you start chanting, lot of clarity will come. All the mental disturbances, the disturbances that kalmashas in the mind, slowly when they become freed, when you become free from this moha, attachments, the decisions you take will become very clear. all the decisions that you take, you know that yes, ultimately this decision I'm taking, it is as per dharma and it will please Prabhupada and Krishna. It is as per dharma. It will help and benefit my family. That conviction you will get. So never take any decisions which is not as per dharma. Plus another thing is without knowledge. Without knowledge, when we take any decisions, it will only collapse. Many big people, so-called people, they proclaim themselves to be very intelligent, and they take big, massive steps, thinking that they're doing very great things, but they will fall apart like anything. They'll fall apart like trump cards. They'll fall, tuck, 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 they'll fall. So those the decision making, actually there is a whole session on this. There are so many different aspects of decision making. In fact, I was discussing with Kaushik also some time ago about decision making. We are developing a nice module on decision making because of his child's ill health. He could not join today, but we are creating something on decision making. I will let you know all this a little bit later. We will have an exclusive session also on decision making. Decision making itself is an art, and there are so many different elements of decision making, right? So yes, there are so many things to discuss, but we will continue again in the next session. Any more questions? If anybody has any questions, you can feel free to ask.
Prabhuji, I just had a query that when we are trying to go on the spiritual path, how do we know that we are progressing? I mean, the small steps, even if it's very minuscule, how do we understand, or how can we mark ourselves as we are progressing?
Yes. One is the level of intensity in your bhakti will increase. Intensity of bhakti, when I say, your commitment basically. Your commitments towards spirituality will slowly increase. Now, you will not waste time in some mundane things. Automatically, you will see that let me utilize this valuable time for Krishna, for my devotional, but like reading Bhagavad Gita, for chanting more. If you're chanting 2 rounds, you're increasing the intensity by chanting 4 rounds. Then you're increasing to 6 rounds. So, what is happening by all this, you're able to measure that yes, I'm progressing. If you're able to chant, today you're chanting 2 rounds, now if you chant 4 rounds, that means you're progressing gradually. So these are certain things that your inclinations, your interest, your intensity is overall increasing in spiritual life. That is why when we see, when we train people also, we have certain benchmarks. What are those benchmarks? Okay, when a person comes newly to Krishna consciousness, first we tell him, okay, you read this small book, you start chanting 1 round of mala, Hare Krishna mantra. Then we say, okay, this is done. Then you go to the next level. What is that next level? Stop drinking tea and coffee. Okay, then we say, read this another big book, medium sized book. Then we say, okay, are you following Ekadashi? Okay, Ekadashi, another thing. He starts following Ekadashi, gives up tea and coffee. Then slowly, start eating only prasadam, no non-vegetarian anyway. So all these different things that a person starts taking into his life, it is actually a sign of progress. Now, there is also possibility that, okay, you have gone through all these different stages and you will reach up to chanting 16 rounds. You have read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. You have got a good understanding of spiritual basic concepts of Krishna conscious life. You are reading Prasadam. All this is there, but there can be a chance of becoming stagnant again. You reach a certain level and you can become stagnant at that level. So when you become stagnant, again you should associate with the devotees. No, you'll understand. I'm becoming stagnant. I'm not getting any new inputs. So when you understand and realize that I'm becoming stagnant in my Krishna consciousness, immediately associate with the devotees and talk to them, discuss about Krishna, discuss them, okay, Prabhuji, and this is what I'm doing. This is my current status. I'm chanting this many rounds. So your interest to ask questions will increase. So that is the one more. Asking question is another sign of your progress. Because when you know that you are becoming stagnant, the next thing is you will start asking questions. What next now? because you'll not be satisfied with what you have, because Krishna is so unlimited. You want to go and move forward. So you should always be on a check. So that is why when you are talking to a devotee, when you're discussing, it's important. That's why I always say that you always get back. You have any questions, anything, you can freely ask in the group or anywhere. Why this is required? Because you'll not remain constant and stagnant in your spiritual life. When you're associating with the devotees, you will not remain stagnant. Otherwise, yes, you will become stagnant. Even after reaching to a certain level, you will become stagnant, which is not good. We should not become stagnant in Krishna consciousness. So the progresses, your chanting itself is one level by which you can measure. Your reading, how many minutes or how many hours are you reading? That's another level. So like this, if you carefully analyze and see how much time you're giving for spiritual life, that itself is a great indication for your progress. And then minutely we can discuss, when you have certain specific questions about your spiritual life, you can freely discuss, you can discuss with me, and we will sort out certain things, we will have a plan, and we can take you forward more and more. So that's why I told last time also that we will have certain different levels of Ashraya programs. I didn't share, I'll get those documents and I'll share with all of you. Please remind me also in the group, then I will try to find them and share all the details with you, okay, of the Akshaya program, so that you get a picture. What is this all about? Then you can have a blueprint. Okay, this is my way to go forward in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that I will share surely. Very soon I will
Okay,
share those.
Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Good. All right then. So please take care. We will meet again next Sunday. Take care. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Vinod. Hare Krishna Uma Kumar. Hare Krishna Dev.